Hey there, I am back at it with another week in my memory planner. So let's get started. I am so behind in some of my memory keeping projects, and not because I don't still want to do them or I've lost interest. I just am so many things that excite me, and so I've been wanting to do those. So just balancing all the creative things. Am I right? I don't know if any of the rest of you feel that. All right, so today, this particular week, I am focusing on these items from PhotoPlay. I have this piece of paper. I mean, obviously the backside has all these little spiders on it too, which are great. However, I don't want to say focus on this, but let's just say it, focus on this with the stickers. And then I also have this little package of paper that is from Lumania. I don't know if that's the brand or not. I got it in the A Cherry on Top shop, Ciao Bella paper. And you can see here, it's all of these like vintagey type papers. And I thought it went well with sort of this vibe. And it's also really super thin, which is awesome. So I thought if I needed any more patterned paper, that those would be cool to use with it. So I think I explained this last time, but I already printed my photos out and add them to the page. I'm trying to do that on a semi-regular basis because that is something that gets really super overwhelming to do, like if I waited when I get behind. So I try to stay fairly current on this. It doesn't always work, but you know, we're gonna give it a go. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna take a look at the stickers and at this sheet because I love this sheet. And I want to see like, okay, what do I want to use here? I'm thinking and looking. And I'll tell you more once I've decided. Okay, so there is a picture down here of the skeletons in my yard, and I do think this frame is very, very cool, but I think maybe I need to use this one because I want to cut it out as a rectangle. And I want to cut it out as a rectangle because if we're being honest, I don't want to fussy cut this frame out. So I think that's maybe what I will do. So let's try that. Again, I never know what's gonna work or what's not gonna work. I just trust my gut and go from there. It usually doesn't steer me wrong. I mean, I don't wanna say like, oh, that never happens, because it absolutely sometimes happens. But for the most part, it doesn't steer me wrong. So obviously I am, you know, just kind of going with it, if you will, in terms of cutting this, because I'm just trying to cut out this section. I am not trying to cut the whole paper up, which I could, but I know that I'm gonna only take a few of these out, so I don't wanna have it all cut up to put back in my stash. And again, that works fine for me, so I don't see any reason to not. All right, I'm gonna cut the corners because I ruined that corner. Actually, you know what? Let's just leave it like that for now. If I change my mind, I could do that. But so we're going to maybe put, okay, maybe up here. Yeah, there we go. Because again, like it wasn't gonna fit in this spot, but I still want one over here, and then I can put another piece of decoration down here and another big piece of decoration up here. Doesn't mean I won't add more throughout the page, but it gives me those 3 anchors that sort of tie the whole layout together, which is, you know, how I kind of like to go, right? Now, this is also like a super Halloween themed photo. My cat is looking at some pumpkins that are outside, which that's fun, right? Yeah, so then we've got these 2 Halloween photos on this layout. So now there's just so many really cool things about this paper that I really like a lot. I think I'm gonna try this guy too, because, well, I gotta think about this. Actually, I think I'm gonna use that black cat one. I know my cat is not black, but it's kind of the vibe, right? Like the Halloween sort of idea that the cat and I was going to go really literal and use that jack-o'-lantern, which would be awesome, but I'm thinking that it might just be better to use the cat. Again, will it actually be better? I don't really know. And it doesn't really matter because whatever I choose, in the end, it will all come together. It will be great, and I won't be beating myself up about that I didn't choose this and I didn't choose that. So I do try to remember that when I'm making choices for my projects, that it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme. What matters in the grand scheme is that I'm happy with the project and I'm happy with or how it turned out, and then how I'm happy that it's finished. I hope that makes sense because I know not everybody it's about finishing. I know there's lots of motivations people have in doing things, but for me, for the most part, it's about the finishing. All right, so we've got the cat over here. All right, so that's cute. I think I'm gonna let that piece of paper go for now, and it's possible I'll come back to it, but I don't want to, yeah. Okay, so now I really do love this little, I don't think I can add that here though. I might be able to, no, I don't think so. I think I have enough room. Okay, well, so maybe I can't use that on this page, but I can probably figure something else out. So I'm trying to find something on here that goes with the pumpkins. So I have this as a pumpkin. I have this tiny one as a pumpkin. I have this square that's a pumpkin, another pumpkin here. All right, I think I'm switching directions. I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it down, and I also don't like to think about it too much once I've made a decision either, because for me, that sort of defeats the purpose. I want to make a decision, move on, and be happy with it. I'm gonna use this little haunted house. I know the scale and all that doesn't really go, but I'm gonna choose to do it anyway and hope that in the end, I'm happy with it. And I think I will be, because I think that's actually really cute, so it's totally fine. All right, so, all right, I'm really digging the bats, so I'm thinking I'm going to add some more bats. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. I like to do 3 and very often also 5. I think that that looks really cool and works out well when you use those numbers. I could not think of the word. That's kind of ridiculous, but that's okay. Alrighty. Now I want to go through here because I don't want to use the white because we have the off-white background here. Possibly this because it looks really grungy. That one also looks grungy. I really kind of love that one. Okay, those are all very cool. I'm just gonna stick with the original one because it totally does the job. I don't need to overthink it. It's going to go basically behind this, so I don't know why I would overthink it terribly. Now I'm going to cut this piece to be about 3 inches tall. I might go a little bit more, maybe 3 1/4. And then I'm going to do 3 wide, and I will show you why in just a second. I probably didn't need to go quite so wide, but it's all right. Then I'm going to tear that, and then I think what I'm going to do is layer it just like this, and then we can have this sort of, and then I'll figure something else out. I mean, you know, I don't need to know exactly how I'm going to do the whole thing, but I'm satisfied with that so I can get those elements glued down. I've already made that decision. I don't need to wait to glue it down. Now what I would like to do is maybe like, I do kind of wish this sheet had some more strips, like washi type strips, because I think that that could look cool, like if I went like that, but I'm not going to overthink it because it doesn't have that. So I think I'm going to use this black round bat wing powder sticker. I'm going to stick it right there. Yeah, and that's it. So that's another cluster. Again, I'm not saying it's completely finished or anything like that. I'm just saying like, okay, that looks good as it is. If I decide later, once I've gotten the rest of this stuff in, then I can absolutely add more to that. I really dig these. I'm looking at this right now, but like this ghost in these ornate frames, they're so cute to me. Just what a fun, this is just so fun. Okay, I'm gonna look at this paper again, even though I know I said I was done with it, but I'm clearly not done with it. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this elixir magical potion, and I'll show you. So again, I'm actually using a little bit more of this than I maybe thought that I would. I kind of had thought that like, oh, I might just use a couple, but clearly that is not the case. And I kind of miscut that, but I'm just not gonna worry about it, because honestly, I just can't worry about all the mistakes that I make, because I make quite a few of them, if I'm being honest. I need to change the blade in my paper trimmer. So many things to do, so little time. All right, now I'm just sort of annoyed, so I'm going to just cut the rest of this because I don't feel like messing with my trimmer, even though that was the whole point. As you can see, my process is very chaotic a large part of the time. I'm also getting ready to travel on a vacation, and so I've got like 50,000 things in my head, but I wanted to make something. I felt like making. And memory planning is a great thing for me to do because it's based on what already happened. Like I'm not thinking up something, if that makes sense. Like I'm not like, oh, let's design this page. Like I already have the format, I already have the activities, I already have the photos. It's fairly, I get to be fairly creative, but I don't have to make as many decisions. A lot of the decisions are made for me based on the format, and then I already have the photos and, like I said, the activities and stuff. Okay, so then we're going to use this sticker, which I kind of like this very similar tone on tone, and then I'm going to figure something else out to add the, like a pop of black or whatever. I just got to look at this because all I really see right now, I would say that all I really see is the bats and stuff, but I just saw this very adorable ghost circle sticker, and that's kind of what I want to do. And I'll tell you why. I want to because I like the circle here, and so like they kind of go together, and I love the pop, the contrast that that provides with those sort of similar colored things. Now, I'm gonna put a couple more bats down here, and then I'm gonna need to figure out something for up here. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put one bat down here, and then I'm gonna put one bat over here because I only had two left, so I didn't want to have two clusters have bats and the third not have bats. Then this one says bat wing powder, so I mean, like I had to put a bat over here, right? This guy has a bat in it, so again, he needs a bat. So then what I'll do in order to sort of make all of this be cohesive is I'm going to add that little black star, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. is I'm gonna add a little black star over here as well. So again, it's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be like, oh yeah, because I believe in looking at the whole project as a whole versus like, oh, I'm gonna just look at each cluster, and I'm talking about when it's finished. Okay, so now we've got the base, right? Now I go back, I go through my planner, I look at what activities, what things were going on, and I go from there. So here we had a baseball game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull out a sticker. And I'm gonna put that down here because I absolutely love the sky in this photo too, so I'm trying to figure out how I think I'm gonna put it right here. Sort of preserve the photo because I just love that it's like Twilight, that type of thing. And then we're going to look through the rest of the things that I've got just so that I can, why did I flip the page? Again, I hope you all feel less chaotic when you're creating than I do, because I definitely always feel very chaotic. Okay, that's actually, let's back up. I don't always feel that chaotic. I just feel really chaotic right now, so. All right, and then my friend and I went to one of those markets that have all kinds of small shops and vendors, and that was so much fun. So I'm gonna add that here. I'm also gonna put something over here, but I think I'm gonna make it part of the journaling over here because, you know, it's kind of meaningful or whatever. So I'm gonna pull these out now because now I'm gonna do more writing on the pages. And then I'm going to put the big book away. I love this portion because it signals to me that the next step is here, and I feel like, oh, I've accomplished something. You may think that's silly, but for my brain, I just feel like I'm actually actively taking steps at this point. So, okay, so I'm going to write down I like to switch up the handwriting, and I don't mean like every word or every block or anything like that. I just mean like periodically and whatever feels right. I just like the way that it sort of breaks all of the things up. And so I just do that, and it works really well for me personally. All right, so another step finished or checked off. Now what I am going to do is I am going to take this, and I think I'm gonna stick with black, and I wanted to maybe use orange, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna take these alphabet stickers, and I am going to spell out, I go and I visit my baby cousin every week and hang out with her, and it's such a delight, and so I'm gonna write her name next to that photo. I do this actually very, very often, but it sort of signifies, like, because I spend the day with her, and so I love having that in here because it's such a mark of what I did during the week, getting that privilege of getting to hang out with her. So if you've been here for a minute, you know that I have 3 sons that are almost all adults at this point, and it's such a treasure to get to spend time with a baby girl because I did not have a baby girl, and So far, at a year old, they're not any different in my experience, but it's so enjoyable all the same. So, okay, now we've got this. How about we add some journaling? So what I like to do when I add my journaling, and again, if you are not new here, you will recognize this sort of idea. I just really like to draw the lines. It really helps me keep it working well for me, honestly, and I guess that probably sounds kind of silly, but I know that I can't do all the things, and that includes write straight lines, right? So I'm going to use the lines that were already there as guidelines. So as you can see, there are already lines printed here. I'm going to use those. That's not what I would normally do if I didn't have the lines as a guideline, but I do, so I'm going to. I want to say a little bit more than I normally would have room for with just this block. Although now that these lines are pretty skinny, I may have more room, but I'm not going to fret about that. I'll come up with something else to say if need be. So we've got these lines, and as I've already mentioned multiple times, I don't need things to be perfect. I just need to do them. Like, I like the process of making. The outcome is not quite as important to me, and I understand that is not going to be true for everybody, but it is for me. All right, so now we are going to, I'm not going to add well, yeah, I am going to add lines here. Who would I be if I didn't add my lines, right? Sometimes I use pencil, sometimes I use pen like I am today. I really, just like that with the handwriting, I really just want to do whatever feels right and necessary at that time. I'm not particularly interested in forcing myself to just do things the same because I always have. Okay, I'm going to try something a little bit different here. We'll see if I like it. Who knows if I will or not. But that's the beauty of a project like this, is that next week there is a whole new opportunity to do it again. And if I don't love the way something comes out, again, the page gets turned. So I try not to stress. I try not to worry too much about it. I just want to enjoy the process. Okay, now I also realized that I wanted to write something over here, so we're going to do that next. Now, this is one of the things that I actually really like about this, and you may disagree, but when you get where you've used a lot of the alphas, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't spell this letter or this word, and I can't spell this word, I love it, especially on a sheet like this, because then it's a challenge to figure out how I can. So if I need to shift what I'm going to say or something like that. But if I'm also being perfectly transparent, it's also easier with a sheet of alphabet stickers like this because there's so many. I have lots of different options, and I love that. So I'm also going to add a little exclamation point, and I'm probably supposed to use the one from up there, but I don't really care, it's fine. I just, in case you haven't figured it out yet, I really just want this to be fun and enjoyable in the moment, and For me, that absolutely means just taking things easy, just doing it as it goes, getting it done, and having fun in that process. Okay, so now we're good here. So I'm going to add a little bit of that journaling. I'm not enjoying this particular pen. The tip is, worn or whatever, so I'm going to use a different one and then write my journaling. Okay, so now you can see that I did go outside the lines a little bit, right? Because, yeah. And actually, if you want to know the truth, that really doesn't happen very often. I usually manage to say what I'm going to say in those spaces. But, today I had more I wanted to say. And guess what? I'm perfectly okay with it. I'm also perfectly okay with it because I can just draw more lines, right? It doesn't matter. There was space, so you wouldn't even know those lines weren't there, when you're looking at it later. I'm gonna leave this because it's actually sort of like an added note and it doesn't bother me that there's not a line there. So now I need to add a little bit of journaling on this side as well. So I'm going to do that. And then we've got one more spot. And then, you know what? I think because that one's so long, I'm going to finish that after we wrap up this video. Not because I don't want you to watch me write that, but it's kind of a large journaling block and then we're finished anyway. So that is how this week turned out in my memory planner. I hope that it was fun to watch and it inspires you to add all the sweet treats and the wonderful supplies that you have to your next project.